from what we've seen from the Bears, you've got to take some confidence in what we saw from this game. I mean, I don't think you can just write off the fact that Sunday was Justin Fields' first 300-yard game ever. The first time he's ever done it, 4 touchdowns.
First time he's ever done that too.
I mean, dare I say it was a pretty good performance. Of course, like I said, he fumbles that leads to a defensive touchdown for Denver. He throws a pick trying to get the Bears into range for a game-tying field goal. I get it. Still not great, but from what we saw through the first 3 weeks, can we consider this progress? Is this something that the Bears can carry forward to try to find some semblance of good news somewhere?
I'm hoping that is the case because of one thing, and that is the play calling in general. I know that there were still some hiccups along the way. I know there were some times that maybe they shouldn't have gone for it on 4th and 1. I still have no idea why they insist on sneaking Cole Kmet from under center rather than Justin Fields, who is a big 230-pound quarterback who, oh, by the way, is a really great runner. I don't understand some of these play calls still, but at the same time, the Chicago Bears saw an uptick in things that we have been wanting them to do, as in play action, RPOs. There were only ended up being a couple design quarterback runs, and they weren't particularly effective. But then you were able to see how that ended up opening up this offense and giving Justin Fields a little bit of breathing room to the point where he could go down the field. They had, by the halfway point of Sunday's game, they had 7 plays over 20 yards. Prior to that, the 3 weeks prior to that, they had 8 total plays of over 20 yards. So now you've matched that in one single game, and you've done it in a way that seems sustainable if you continue it. I think their play action percentage, I'm looking at the numbers right now, 4th of any team in week 4 through this Monday night game. So 18.6% of the Chicago Bears plays were play action. 20% even were play action or RPO, some type of play action or RPO. They also utilized 21 personnel, which is having 2 backs on the field in addition to Justin Fields, 18.6% of the time. That is important because that can be a strength of this offense going forward. Now we just have to see them do it against a team that didn't give up 70 points the week before.
I mean, I hear you. And yes, I'm going to do my best not to overreact to one good performance against a potentially very bad team. But at the same time, like you just mentioned, some of this stuff seemed like kind of an elementary fix. This is something we talked about in our production meetings earlier, which is that, and this is a much longer conversation, but it's hard not to notice what's happening in Houston with CJ Stroud, a similarly talented, similarly high drafted quarterback from the same school, Ohio State, as Justin Fields, has a decimated offensive line, has a receiver core that's played well, but isn't anything to get excited about. Doesn't that start to sound like Justin Fields? And then you see what he's doing, 1,200 passing yards through the first month, 300 yards on Sunday. I just don't believe that Justin Fields can't do it. I'm not saying he's like this franchise guy that's going to go on to become one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but I refuse to believe you can't get production like this out of him, at least occasionally. And that's what is so intriguing about this game is it's like, yeah, with the right situation, with the right offense and designing it around the things he does well, surely Justin Fields can be more serviceable than what we saw the first 3 weeks of the season, which was not serviceable at all by NFL standards. I mean, I don't know if he can do this every week, but I do think that his floor should be higher than what we've seen.
He's a better runner than CJ Stroud. He's a better runner than pretty much any quarterback in the league right now. Lamar Jackson probably still owns that crown, but Justin Fields is explosive when it comes to that. And it's interesting that you actually bring up the Texans because of the fact that their offensive coordinator from the Shanahan tree, when I was looking up all of these stats about the Chicago Bears this week, you want to know who ran a pro set, a multi-back set, more like top 2 teams that ran 21 personnel is what I'm trying to get at. The San Francisco 49ers, the original Shanahan, and the Houston Texans. 56.6% of the time, 49ers had two backs on the field in addition to their quarterback. The Texans, 47.8%.
Oh, so you're telling me Bobby Slowick, the OC in Houston, learned a thing or two from Kyle Shanahan?
From Kyle Shanahan, and perhaps this whole, but the thing is, Luke Getsy comes from this tree too. He worked under Matt LaFleur in Green Bay as a quarterbacks coach. Matt LaFleur is part of this Shanahan wonderful coaching tree. So he should be familiar enough with this system to know that when you have a quarterback that can run, you add two more backs on the field and you force defenses to figure out how to contend with three different runners. Defenses are built to defend that anymore. This is a passing league. Defenses are smaller and faster these days. They're not built to contend with the run like this. So it's working for these other teams that are within this group of coaches that the Bears belong to. So it's baffling to me it's taken this long, but I'm hoping that this is something that keeps up because, again, when you're talking about tailoring an offense to Justin Fields' skill set, this is it. This is how you do it.
It just doesn't seem like it should be that hard. And I'll say it one more time. I'm not asking Justin Fields to magically become an elite NFL quarterback, but a coaching staff that's good at its job should be able to build a good offense or a useful offense around this guy. I'm choosing to see it as encouraging that the Bears were able to do it so well this past week. I do think it's ironic that you and I are sitting here saying, oh, if the coaches can just do this, Justin Fields has at least a little bit of untapped potential. Meanwhile, this interview started talking about how hapless the Bears coaching staff has looked. So hopefully the stuff that's getting said in the media is more chaotic than what's actually happening behind the scenes. Because like I said, just because the Bears need a win, I'm choosing to believe that this could be the first step toward a better offense. Am I crazy for that?
No, because I think they saw that it worked. And once you see that something works, hopefully something just clicked into place. But it's still an uphill battle because of all of the off the field dysfunction. I mean, we're talking about the media room at Hallis Hall was upended to like when reporters came in today or Monday rather, and there was a stage that hadn't been there before. It was a temporary stage, a smaller podium. Everything was off center. It looked off kilter. I'm like, we can't even get the media, the press conferences right at this point. So it's an uphill battle when you're fighting things outside of what you're trying to do on the field. And that is something that we have not seen the Bears be able to get together and just kind of just have things run smoothly and just be normal. That's not something we've seen from the Chicago Bears at all this season. There's something else popping up every week. And maybe if they end up moving on from Chase Claypool, which it definitely seems like they're trying, I think Ryan Poles is trying to get anything for Chase Claypool at this point. If they can move on from that and avoid any more drama, then I think the product on the field has a chance.